Good day to all. Welcome to Extreme Recap. The film rotates around a disturbed youth named Mike Tyson, who tries to turn into an expert fighter. He becomes involved with the wrong group of friends as he gets older. At some point, Mike is getting peer compelled into going after a gathering of neighborhood young men with a weapon. He confronts the kids and shoots them, but fortunately no one is hurt. He soon learns, however, that his friends have left him. He also leaves the scene as a result. Mike finds himself in similar predicaments. He was also detained by the time he was 13 years old, 38 times. As a result, he is imprisoned and transferred to the Tryon Juvenile Detention Center. Bobby Stewart, a former boxer, was there when he saw Mike's developing boxing skills. After a few months of training, Bobby takes him to Catskill, a New York City boxing gym, where he meets Cus D'Amato, a well-known trainer. Cus is immediately impressed by Mike's strength and potential when he spars with a boxer from the club. Because of this, he chooses to encourage Mike and welcomes him to remain at his home, where he prepares his different warriors. Mike and his wife Camille are met by Cus when they arrive at the residence. In any case, she gives off an impression of being baffled with Mike's expansion to the house, as they as of now have an adequate number of individuals residing there. After that point, Cus starts to thoroughly prepare Mike to make him quite possibly of the best contender. At some point, Mike, who is 16 years old, learns the terrible news that his mother has passed away. Consequently, he returns to Brooklyn to attend a touching funeral. Despite the sad occasion, Mike is devastated and does not spend much time in Brooklyn. Instead, he goes back to New York to continue his training. He decides to construct a pigeon coop outside the house where he is staying as a touching tribute to his mother's memory. At some point, Cus approaches a lamenting Mike and propels him by saying that an expert fighter continues to push on regardless of what his inclination are going through. After that, Mike receives a gold pin from Cus that Muhammad Ali, a legendary boxer, gave to him. He is overjoyed about this, which further drives him to train for his upcoming fight. After that, the movie cuts to the 1982 Junior Olympics, where Mike competes in his first amateur boxing match. He wins the fight, shocking everyone, by TKO. 8 seconds into the initial round. In the meantime, it turns out that his partner wanted to adopt Mike, so he tells his wife. Surprise, Camille accepts the decision wholeheartedly because she wants him to stay with them forever too. When Mike gets back to New York, he is overjoyed to find out that his parents have decided to adopt him. And both Camille and the possibility of a better future give him hope. He meets Jimmy Jacobs and Bill Clayton, 2 boxing managers, the following day. Cus advises Mike that they will assist with keeping him out of any difficult situation that might emerge in his excursion to become number. After his most memorable legitimate fight, Mike's old and persistent vices begin to re-emerge, making him slack off in his preparation and become a troublesome student. Teddy, one of the trainers, tries unsuccessfully to discuss Mike's behavior with Cus. He lavishes the boy with attention because he adores him. Teddy is confronted shortly thereafter by his minor sister, who asserts that Mike tried to have his way with her, enraged him. As a result, Teddy pulls a gun on Mike the same night he returns home and tells him not to do it again. In any case, Mike isn't threatened and essentially grins at Teddy. This enrages the last such a lot of that he shoot an admonition shot, cautioning everybody inside the house. After the fighter's controversial actions the night before, Teddy decides to leave the house the following morning. Because of this, Kevin is appointed Mike's new trainer by Cus. He also rises quickly through the ranks, slamming his foes to the ground, right and left. Iron Mike Tyson is Mike's nickname because of how hard he can knock people out, mostly in the first round of his fights. However, as he rises in popularity, Cusman's health begins to deteriorate. After experiencing intense pain for a few weeks, he eventually passes away from old age, which is devastating. Now that no one else is in charge, Mike is reassured that he won't be leaving when Jimmy makes the decision to become his manager. The movie then cuts to 1986, when Mike fights Trevor Burbank in a World Boxing Council Heavyweight Championship match in Las Vegas. Mike wins the fight with complete dominance and breaks world records to become the youngest boxing champion in history. Mike, who is just 20 years old, refuses to stay focused one day while studying a fight for an upcoming match and instead watches a commercial that features a stunning model named Robin Givens. He becomes fortified with a woman and even telephones her up, requesting a date with her. She shows up, which is a good thing, at his next fight with Tony Tucker. The pressure of Robin's presence causes Mike to perform poorly in the first round. Kevin, on the other hand, notices this, and Mike finally puts on an entertaining show and wins the match to keep his heavyweight title. Following the game, Mike and Robin head home in a limousine where one thing prompts another, and they have shares. Additionally, they begin a public and official relationship. After a year, Mike gets hitched to a multi-month-old pregnant Robin stealthily. His happiness, sadly, does not last very long. He finds out that Jimmy died of leukemia shortly after their marriage. Mike suffers mental harm as usual as a result of this. Lost someone he trusted and loved. The following week, Donald Don King, a boxing promoter, approaches Mike while they are at Jimmy's funeral. He has accompanied an amazingly lucrative deal, which no fighter can decline. Mike, however, surprises him by declining and opting instead to make Don his fight promoter. As a result of this decision, as the two argue over Mike's future contract, there is a lot of debate about Bill and Don. After some back and forth, Robin also gets involved in the debate and says that Bill and Don duped Mike and used him for money. Mike and Robin had a miscarriage a few months later, further worrying Mike, and he relaxes in his preparation. After a long absence, he finally shows up at the boxing club one day, where Kevin scolds him for his carelessness. Mike, on the other hand, shows no concern at all and begins to train recklessly. Kevin tells Robin that Robin was never even pregnant and that he is sulking for no reason, frustrated with his attitude. After that, it comes to light that Robin had in fact lied about becoming pregnant in order to coerce Mike into marrying her. Despite the fact that this information has already been made public, Mike is furious to learn it from Kevin. He then calls two trainers one by one and brutally knocks them out as a response to this. The movie then cuts to 1988, the night of one of Mike and Michael Spink's most intense fights. However, Bill learns that Mike has let him go before the match begins, making Don his new manager. Everyone cheers for Mike when he wins the match. After the match, incidentally, Mike has likewise left behind Kevin and anticipates preparing with the coaches that Ware has overseen for him one day. While Mike and Robin do a joint meeting for the ABC television news magazine show, things veer off in a strange direction when the last option portrays her life as unadulterated damnation. She also takes aim at Mike's worsening mental health issues, saying that if he doesn't get therapy, she will leave the marriage. A deceived Mike simply stays there and stands by listening to his significant other tirade endlessly. In the meantime, Don, Kevin, and a lot of other people watched the interview on television in total shock. This causes the couple to get into a lot of arguments and disagreements, to the point where the police are called to their property to deal with the situation. In one example, the police showed up to observe Mike, pitching a fit and breaking a few family things while Robin and her mom choose to move out of the house. Mike and Don watch Robin on television a few days after the incident, telling the press that Mike has become an emotionally abusive husband and that she has filed for divorce. To relax and loosen up, Mike goes on a night out to a club where he's moved toward by numerous ladies who need to have a great time. In the midst of the group, he's defied by an old rival of his who begins to flap his gums to Mike and put downs him, as well as Robin. Mike swings at the boxer out of rage and knocks him down before driving off in his limousine. The film quick advances to a year after the fact in 1990 in Tokyo, Japan, to Mike's next proficient battle against Buster Douglas. However, the chaos and stress in his personal life make it abundantly clear that he has lost his career's direction. Thus, Mike performs ineffectively in the battle and ceaselessly gets beaten around the ring. He figures out how to wreck Buster, yet the last option promptly gets back up on his feet and grounds much harder blows. When they first see the Iron Mike in such a state, everyone is devastated. He is also eliminated in the 10th round, which is unfortunate. He loses the first fight of his career as a result of this, and as a result, he loses his heavyweight championship. Mike is lost for words in the wake of having his most memorable misfortune. Despite Dawn's belief that he had won the fight, she continues to sue the boxing company. Subsequently, Mike gets back to New York and visits an old Camille. The two exchange pleasantries and discuss cause. After a year, Mike and a portion of his companions made a trip to Indianapolis to be a piece of the Miss Dark America event. They make their way over there to meet some of the women who will be attending the event. Additionally, Desiree Washington, one of them, catches Mike's eye. A similar night, he hits up the lodging that Desiree and her companions are remaining at and demands for her. She then, at that point, converses with him apprehensively, while all her different companions tune in shock. Mike succeeds in persuading them in the end, eager to party and promising that she would meet a lot of other famous people. So not long after she gets into the limo with Mike, who returns her to her lodging, guaranteeing that he wants to get his guardian. But when I got to the hotel, and she is taken up to Mike's room. Then, it becomes clear that Mike was tried in 1991 for assaulting Desiree Washington, then 18, in the hotel room he had taken her to. Mike is ultimately tracked down blameworthy on the charges of attack and criminal degenerate direct. He is sentenced to 6 years in the Indiana Youth Center as a result. Kevin has also taken Mike to court to claim damages from Mike. Additionally, it is shown that he and Robin had already filed for divorce in 1989. Additionally, the settlement's terms were sealed, following Mike's March release from prison, 25th. In 1995, he made the announcement that he would immediately resume his career in boxing while Don would continue to serve as his promoter. On the other hand, he will also be tried for insurance fraud. Turn on notifications, please subscribe for more videos like this, and like the channel to support it. Thank you very much for watching.